All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this weekly update, February 2nd, 2021. My name is Rainey. I'm the proud mayor of the great city of Peekskill. Today, I'm joined by our phenomenal city manager, Andy Stewart, and our awesome school superintendent, Dr. Mauricio. Dr. Mauricio, good morning, man, and welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Good morning.
Great, great. So I want to open this up by saying Happy Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen. We are celebrating Black History Month in the city of Peekskill with pride. Diversity is what keeps this city thriving. And as many of you may or may not know, we've mentioned it a couple of times on these meetings, these weekly updates, but the Harriet Tubman statue, thanks to the bid and the businesses in the downtown district and just the volunteers of the community have come together to help bring the Harriet Tubman statue right here in the city of Peekskill on Central Avenue and was that South and North Division Street on the corner right there. If you haven't saw it, if you haven't been out there to see it, please go check it out. If you haven't seen it by now, please go check it out. It's there. It's going to be there for the remainder of the month of Black History Month. So definitely go check that out. So I want to start this off by talking about COVID, as we've done every week that we've done this weekly update. Right now, where the numbers are consistently decreasing, going lower and lower and lower and lower. Andy, you can jump in.
Yeah, I just want to say, as far as our case rate right now, the county's dashboard that they provide for that has the positive cases or active cases for Peekskill at 309. That's down by dozens over the last week or so. I think back on end of January 24th, so it was 393. So the case rate's going the right direction. Also, the governor removed the city from the yellow zone, and so there's somewhat more the slight change in rules for restaurants in terms of indoor dining and some other things like that.
Yes.
Having said that, we all know that this pandemic is real, that there are new variations on the virus which are more contagious than previously, and they're certainly the wearing the masks and the washing the hands and the social distancing continue to be very important.
Absolutely. In other words, even though we're out of the yellow zone, pretend that we're in the red zone and continue to be safe, cautious, wear your mask, social distance, and all of the safety measures necessary to prevent the spread from happening again, especially here in the city of Peekskill, where everybody is extremely active. So thank you, Andy. But we are out of the yellow zone, which is good news for us. And they mentioned before, as many of you are fully aware, they anticipated that we would get a rise like that after Thanksgiving and after the Christmas holiday and the New Year's celebration. So they're anticipating information was accurate. So now, as we decline, we're encouraging everybody to please continue to practice the safety measures. A little bit of good news. The Honorable George Latimer, our county executive, joined us in a meeting last week with the council, and he expressed that he was going to be working with the state to try to get a mobile testing site here in the city of Peekskill. We have been in conversations with the state the last couple of days, as well as the Peekskill Housing Authority and other members of the community to try to find a way and a location to bring our a mobile vaccination site here in the city of Peekskill over to our seniors first. As of right now, they're only offering doses to seniors 65 and older, first responders, such as the police or the fire department and EMS, but they're looking to find a location here in the city of Peekskill where they can offer it to our seniors. So we're working with them. Hopefully within the next couple of days, we'll have more of an update for the community.
And I'd just like to elaborate on that for 1 minute, Mayor.
Please.
We do have a request from the state to help them identify locations for small testing centers. And these are private, medical outfits that are looking to be placed for 6 months in areas that are easy to get into, where there's pedestrian and parking and so on, roughly 1,200 square feet. So if you're aware of a building or a storefront or private owner that might be interested in in being approached by the state and having a medical sort of equivalent of like an urgent care small little outfit to do testing, they're actively recruiting sites for that. And we were talking this morning in our department head meeting, brainstorming empty buildings that we know of that might be suitable. So this would be an arrangement coordinated by the state, but it's essentially a private transaction between a medical provider of COVID testing and a landlord with some space for that. So that's one thing. And so people are welcome if you could call my office or send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat for that. So it's a call out to people who own buildings, essentially, who might be interested. And separate from that is the vaccination question. And this is also a case where, and Dr. Mauricio and I were just talking about this kind of brainstorm, where the requirement for vaccination sites that the state and the county are looking for are more or less the equivalent size of a basketball court. And what that looks like is the hospital or a medical provider sets up some vaccination stations, 8 or 10 of them in a large room, and coordinates people registering and coming and going from that site. So again, the search is for places like that would be available for about 6 months. And so those are the two requests that are longer term and important, and the city staff are going through our knowledge of locations that might make sense, whether they're city owned or privately owned, and try to set those conversations up. So for anybody who has ideas about that, they're welcome to send them in. I know that there are churches that might have catering halls, or there are other places that might make sense. So we're going to look into that. And thirdly, there will be efforts to do more or less pop-up vaccination type services, again coordinated with the state. So we're working on a plan right now for one of those, as the mayor mentioned, with a very small target of a certain class of seniors to get them vaccinated. And as we move through the process, I'm sure that those kinds of services will expand. So again, if anybody has ideas or referrals they can make for unoccupied office space or anything like that, ground level is best with parking, please refer those to my office.
Absolutely. And we encourage people to look up more information on the vaccinations on the CDC website. We don't really post too much information of that on our social media or our city website, but if you look on the CDC website, you can find more information about the vaccinations. I also want to move on just a little bit to the DPW work. It looks like the DPW didn't have that much of a hassle this time around as far as people moving their cars and alternating parking. The streets are looking a lot better, and the snowfall is still coming down after about 10 to 12 inches of snow from last night until this morning. The streets are looking pretty good. They're drivable. A lot of people are commuting back and forth now. So special thanks to DPW and their work. And they're going to be out there for another 24 hours, I believe, just clearing our streets, clearing our roadways so people can maneuver through the city. So thank you sincerely. And I just wanted to acknowledge this. Councilman Fernandez brought it up too. The city of Peekskill is building what we call a sister city relationship with Cuenca, Ecuador. And we're having our joint meeting with them on March 19th, 2020 to move forward with that. And this will be an opportunity for the city of Peekskill to share some of the cultural benefits of Ecuador right here in our city of Peekskill. And they can also share some of the cultural benefits of Peekskill in Ecuador. And this really just helps promote more diversity for our city with so many people, so many different backgrounds here in the city. It's just great to be able to create these type of relationships. So certainly looking forward to that. And again, there are many educational Zoom events coming up this month for Black History Month, based around not only Black history, but the Harriet Tubman statue in the downtown of Peekskill, New York. So please check out the BID website to get more information on where you can find some of these virtual events, how you can participate, how you can support, how you can help, and how you can create your own if you'd like to. We have another month left, so please check it out. And unless Andy has anything else you want to add to, the police task force, we should talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah, no, that's a great thing to talk about, Mayor. As most people are aware, because we talk about it so much and it's so important. Since last year, this task force, this extraordinary group of 23 people, has been meeting weekly and had committees that are also meeting weekly to explore policy options that are responsive to the call for for enhancing public safety across the board, but with a specific focus on people of color, obviously following out of the tragedy with George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. And that task force has been amazing. The Mayor Rainey has co-chaired it with Antonio Knott. It's involved police officers, current and retired, a broad range of community stakeholders who with their own networks, and they brought in a lot of information. So that process, chapter 1 is wrapping up right now. We will shortly have a draft set of recommendations to first be subjected to more public comment. We've had, I think, 5 public comment meetings of the task force, but now we have a written set of recommendations that have derived from that community conversation. And we'll have public comment, we'll have another public meeting, move that set of recommendations over to the city council for review and take it from there. And as we've said so many times, some recommendations are very specific and kind of ready to go in 2021 or 2022. Others are complex policy matters that involve, the county civil service or state agencies and so on. So it's a broad spectrum, and I look forward to putting that out, the draft plan out for public review very soon.
Yep, and just for the community's FYI, the Community Engagement Committee on Tuesday evenings, they meet virtually and they allow public commenting from the public. They have a Zoom link that they do I believe it's every Tuesday evening at 7. So if you're interested in just participating or sharing some of your ideas with the Community Engagement Committee on what efforts the police can make to engage with the community even more, that's the perfect opportunity. They've been doing it for about 2 or 3 weeks now. So it'd be great to join and participate if you would like to suggest some recommendations. So that being said, so much going on in the city of Peekskill. We could talk about Peekskill forever, but we do have a guest here today, Dr. Mauricio, school superintendent. Again, thank you for coming. So we'd love to hear a little bit about what you're focusing on. I know that, you've been extremely busy, you've been extremely active, and, we appreciate your leadership here. So please share with the community a little bit about what the school's doing, what the school's facing, how the school's overcoming, and what we can expect for the remainder of the year.
Great. Thank you, Mayor, for having me here today on behalf of our Board of Education and all of our staff and children, and City Manager Stewart as well. And to the community, it's always great to have an opportunity to dialogue with the community and share what we are working on and where we're headed. And so, first and foremost, as you mentioned, Mayor Rainey, we are engaging in Black History Month, and also African American history in our community, in the state, and in the country and world as well. And so each of our schools, from Uriah Hill to the high school, will be focusing on activities and educational opportunities for our students. And so we greatly appreciate this time. But equally important, we're actually moving into a culturally responsive education framework, and continuing that work. So we've done a lot of work with purchasing books that represent vast diversity in our schools, and but we've done some other coursework at the high school level, but we want to continue that work. And so we want kids to know about their Latino history, their Black and African American history. We want our children to know about positive female role models that have existed in our country and in our community as well. And so we're going to really double down on our efforts in moving in that work. And Dr. Daniels is leading that work with Madeline Sanchez and also Dr. Sobrin. The last area we're going to be looking at is Dr. Sobrin is our director of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And she's going to be looking at underrepresented groups in the STEM world. And so she'll be looking at women, she'll be looking at people of color, and a variety of other areas as well, to really educate our students about who did really important seminal work throughout our history, and making sure our kids know about who they are, where they come from, and where we're headed as an educational institution. So more will come on that. Dr. Sobrin. I would also like to share instruction. That's kind of the big question, which is very important to us. And so the first one is that we were able to bring in pre-K and kindergarten 5 days a week. and that's at Uriah Hill and Woodside. And so we're very excited that we just rolled out the kindergarten 5 days a week about 2 weeks ago. And we also have students with who have English language learning needs throughout our history and making sure our kids week. Oh, sorry. Hey, Andy, I'm hearing myself twice.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. As my wife says, I like to hear myself speak, but not like hearing myself. So we're bringing in students with significant English language learner needs, and then also certain students who have special needs as well. And we're bringing them in 4 days a week. So we've been doing that for a while. So we're very excited about that. We continue in our hybrid approach and full virtual learning. It's important for the community to know that approximately 80% of our children have parents or younger adolescents have chosen full virtual learning at this time. And so they've made that commitment until the end of the third marking period, which will bring us into the spring, turning into the summer months. And that's very telling for us. So we've dedicated teachers at the elementary level to be full virtual teachers. We have obviously teachers for in-person learning as well. And then we're exploring a transition from hybrid learning into what we call hybrid 2.0. And so we're going to enhance the hybrid approach. One of the things that we found that's difficult for families is when the hybrid students are in on Monday and Tuesday, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it can be a bit of a difficulty for them to log in and be part of what they call asynchronous learning, which means we have pre-recorded lessons. We have Google Slides that students have to follow on their own or with parent help. And so we have found that has been a bit of a challenge for some of our families. And so we're looking at that now with our teachers. We've done some site visits to Ossining School District, and other districts have moved in a different approach in the hybrid model, which is they're live streaming their classroom. So we're looking at that as well, and we'll have more to come to the community for the hybrid learners. Also, the other big question is, again, many families have chosen to remain full virtual, but other families are saying, we want our kids in 5 days a week. And what's it going to take for that to happen? And so, while we do have that for pre-K and K, just recently, January 5th, I believe it was, the American Pediatrics Association put out an article indicating that 6 feet social distancing, obviously mask wearing, are recommended still. However, they indicated that less than 6 feet of social distancing with a mask and barriers can be supported in schools, and they also provide that as an opportunity for schools to consider that. The governor is certainly Cuomo has been alluding to some of that conversation in the most recent weeks. And so we believe that there'll be further dialogue about that for next September and possibly even sooner than that. And so here's what the Council of Superintendents in the Lower Hudson region have indicated. There are 3 things that we are asking for. One is that we have clear guidance on if we're going to go less than 6 feet down to 4 feet or 3 feet or 5 feet, which allows us to bring in more students on a 5-day basis. If we're going to do that, we do want guidance from the departments of health to indicate what recommendation they would make for that to happen safely. And then secondly, we believe that it is important to vaccinate every staff member who is willing to be vaccinated, and that we have that in place prior to doing so. And then thirdly is that we have unfettered access to COVID rapid testing, so that we can test individuals, whether it's, again, with guidance, whether it's 20% surveillance testing on a monthly basis, or however that might be guided to us as a school district. That is something those are the 3 variables that we would need to really move into that direction. And we're going to have to do that anyway, as we think about September, where we know we want all of our kids back. But this conversation is actually going to happen, I think, pretty soon. And so that could be a reality this year as well. And I know for some families that is long overdue and much awaited for. And for some individuals, it is concerning because we've been working under this 6-foot rule. And I can share that our COVID testing, we tested over 550 people And that was to bring our students back from full virtual learning to a hybrid model. And we had less than a 1% positivity rate. And so that was very encouraging for us to know that, the community is doing their part, but also we really can't pinpoint any case where one person tested positive in our schools and then another person tested positive as a direct relation. There's a few cases, count them on one hand, where that could have been a scenario, but we have quarantined numerous individuals, hundreds of individuals, and we have not seen positive cases resulting from that. So that is really encouraging for us as a community and as a school district, and that our cleaning protocols, our disinfection protocols, our social distancing, pre-K to grades 12, they're wearing masks. And so I want to thank all of our custodial staff, all of our staff, teachers, teacher aides, everyone involved in our school district, our students for doing their part, and our families for doing their parts, because our schools are safe. And so that is very important for us to share with the community.
Awesome.
And next big item is sports as well. And so the governor just recently indicated that high-risk sports can take place, but he wanted the local health departments and the local counties to make that determination on the guidance and the guidelines for that. And so so we are already doing boys swimming right now, bowling, and outdoor track. Obviously not running today outdoors, but that has been approved, and we're doing that. High-risk sports, wrestling, boys and girls basketball, beginning in February. We'll be talking with our board tonight. This is what's on the table, and we'll be discussing this with our board tonight. Executive Latimer, County Executive Latimer, has indicated that high-risk sports can take place in Westchester County, and that he will keep an eye on the data to determine whether we can continue to have the sports, based on the positivity rate. But one of the things that is coming as well is football, lacrosse, and certainly those are sports that will be coming as we move into the spring season as well. And I know people are waiting for those sports, and there's some other high-risk sports as well that we are looking at. So we're going to be discussing that tonight with our board. We'll make a public statement tonight about athletics and how we move forward with high-risk sports. Cheerleading will continue as well. We are not going to allow spectators because that just becomes very difficult to manage. But we will have a special senior parent night so that the seniors' parents get to come and watch them play in a game, and we will make that happen as we move forward. And then two last quick points, if I may, is funding is going to be critical. I know you as a city leadership team are talking about funding and budgets. The country is as well. And so the only thing I would ask our community members, parents, and community members is to contact their federal elected officials and to advocate that funding make its way to our school districts in New York State, and that funding allow us to reopen schools safely for all of our children 5 days a week. This is what our kids need. This is what our staff certainly is geared to do. This is what we do as a school district, is educate all of our children. So we really need the funding for COVID-related disinfection and all the aspects that go along with that, with the PPE that is required to open schools, and then any space issues that might come up. Our kids need to be back in our buildings 5 days a week, and we need the funding to help us do that. And so that'd be critical. And then the next point of advocacy would be to contact the governor and just to speak about Peekskill, advocate. You don't have to come up with all the details, but it's really about advocating that Peekskill get its equitable funding that it needs so that we can continue our great programming, and then also continue to begin to open up our schools again, as I mentioned, 5 days a week for all of our children. And that'll be critically important. We are knowledgeable that the state also has a funding challenge, and the federal government as well. So we just want to make our voices known to the federal government and to state leadership as well, including state senators and assemblymen and women. So that's very important. And then lastly, I'm just going to end on a positive note. We opened our Lisa Roleri Family Resource Center. That is wonderful. It's open right now for registration and transportation. We're going to have a technology boot camp there. Otherwise, Mr. Stewart, I would have offered that opportunity for testing and vaccination, but we already have staff in. We did a thank you to our team of custodians and maintenance staff who renovated it beautifully. We'll certainly open it up to the community more as we move forward. Torpy Field is near complete. We're very excited about that. It should be ready for football season in March. And we're very excited for that to happen. Certainly we'll invite, key leaders like yourselves to be part of that. We'll do a ribbon cutting and we'll do it correctly, socially distanced, masks on, et cetera. We're very excited about that. It's not open to the public yet, but we're getting there. And then already before we even, while we're finishing the field, we will also be beginning our work on a STEAM Innovation Center at the high school, and also a STEAM Innovation Lab at Hillcrest, and then other work that's happening in our other schools as well. And the last thing I'm going to share is that our graduation rate in Peekskill is the highest it's ever been. I look back 12 years, we are at the highest. So I want to thank all of our teachers, family, and students, and staff, administrators, everyone who was part of that. So here's the numbers. And yes, we did not have Regents exams last year, right? However, we're looking at apples to apples with the state. The city, the district, entire district was 80.3%. So we broke the 80% barrier, very important. The high school, Peekskill High School, was 83%.
There we go.
The entire state, which is over 700 districts, including the most wealthiest, all the way to any other district in our state, over 700 districts, their average was 85%. So our high school is 2 percentage points away from the state average. That's our next target, to meet and exceed the state average. And then we're going to go to 90%. Then we're going to go to 95%. And then we're going to reach our ultimate goal of 100% of our students graduating. And we are very excited about that. And
congratulations, man. That's beautiful.
Thanks to our team. Our team have been great. Our principal, Mr. Arthur, his whole team, Mr. Callahan, everyone has done a great job. So thank you so much for allowing me to share that important news as well.
That's great news to hear. There's a great deal of new programming coming to the city to help assist with helping that graduation rate grow up. So I'll speak about that another time. But congratulations for all the work that you're doing, the entire school district, all of the principals, assistant principals, even down, the hall monitors even have really great relationships with the children. And I remember growing up in Peekskill High School, Pete Peterson was just, he was a walking influence. I mean, he always had something inspirational to say whenever he saw you walking down the hall. So, having that relationship and that connection throughout the entire school day, from your teachers to the janitors, to the hall monitors, to the principals, the guidance counselors, like those relationships that they help out a lot. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. So thank you for all of that information. Andy, do we have any great questions? I'm trying to keep track of them now. It's going up a little bit. I know somebody asked about testing.
Yeah, so there are some questions for Dr. Mauricio.
Okay.
And I think they basically revolve, and you may have covered this a little bit already, they revolve around how are students and staff testing for COVID, essentially, how often and how is that process monitored or managed?
Yeah, great. So I'll just share a little bit. So before we were able to come back right in January, mid-January, to reopen our schools, and what we did again is we tested over 550 individuals. That included staff, students, and with that we had less than 1% positivity rate. And I want to thank all of our nurses and our COVID health and safety team for guiding that effort. We did it right in our high school gymnasium, and it was well organized, and that was important. Now that was part of the yellow zone, and so at this point, because we're no longer a yellow zone, there's no requirement for us to continue testing. However, we are working with the county Department of Health to engage in additional testing as we move forward, because we feel that that's important. And part of our athletics proposal to our Board of Education, and who, by the way, our Board of Education is top notch. These are the best 7 individuals that a superintendent can ask for and a community can ask for. And they've been absolutely phenomenal in their leadership and dedication. But one of the things that we're going to talk to them about tonight is the need for testing our athletes who are part of high-risk sports. So moving forward, that is something that we will be doing, and we're requesting the test from the Department of Health. And then we'll be looking at surveillance testing as we move forward as well. And as you remember, to bring our kids, all of our kids back in the building, COVID testing as a surveillance measure is going to be a critical aspect of us being able to do that.
Right.
Thank you, Dr. Mauricio. I think that was really the main question on here related to the school district. There's some questions and concerns about our snow cleanup process and garbage pickup, which I'm happy to address. Mayor, if you want to chat a bit about that.
Yeah. So what was it about the snow pickup you said?
So first of all, a mea culpa, there was, I don't know how long it was there, but for a brief period of time on our Facebook, which is where we post updates to city programs and services, a post that was wrong, which was a cancellation of Monday morning's garbage pickup. It was retracted, but unfortunately it was up there for long enough for people to get the wrong idea. We were actually discussing whether or not we would have the staff and the ability to pick up Monday morning's trash. We decided to do it, and then we intended to put up a post saying, don't worry, the trucks are coming, and they did. It's just that the post was incorrectly done and it had to be edited, and unfortunately that got the wrong information out. So we apologize for that. I mean, it was in a storm situation, and there was a series of texts between myself and the person who manages Facebook for us. Didn't come out the way we wanted it. Right. Fix it as quickly as we found out about it. But apologies to those who saw that and didn't bring their trash out because they thought they didn't need to, and then didn't see the correction.
Yeah. So
unfortunately, we do have, the garbage. It just as a rule of thumb, so folks know, we pick up garbage during snowstorms, unless we can't do it. So we would post a cancellation. Didn't intend to do it this time, and so that was unfortunate. The Saturday morning drop off will be available this Saturday, and the city website has information about how to do that. So if folks can use that and want to use that, it's available to them as it is every Saturday. And I just want to note also that if the city did this in the past, but we activated it for this storm, where we had the garage meters were free or unenforced, and that is continuing. So folks can leave their cars there today and tonight. They just need to get them out. Wednesday morning, the meters will start to be enforced again. So that helps people get their cars off the street and make their life a little easier. And that will become a routine part of our snowstorm communications going forward, because we understand it's both hard for some people to find a place to put their car, and it's also hard to plow those roads when the cars are there. So anything we can do to manage that, the parking, really helps us with the road clearing. And right now, the snowstorm is still is pretty much over, but there's a little bit of snow. And just so folks know, the sidewalk code enforcement starts after the snowstorm ends, and then folks have 4 hours to get out there and start cleaning their sidewalks. And we do have code enforcement, and they will be out there. The sidewalk cleaning is important for public safety and obviously for people walking and the safety of pedestrians. So we appreciate everybody's cooperation on that. The city has a limited number of sidewalks that we clean, in front of the city hall and, parking garages and across the neighborhood center and so on and so forth. But 99% of the sidewalks in the city are cleaned by the property owners that are adjacent. And so we appreciate everybody's hard work on that. I know it's a lot. It's a lot. And we want people.
Thank you for clearing that up.
I also want to note, just since we have it out right now, it's regarding communications. And communications are always hard, they're never perfect, and we can always do better. One of the things we're doing right now is we're actually recruiting a communications contractor, and there's a request for proposals on the city website. It's open, and we'd be thrilled for talented folks who do communications work or public relations, and have that kind of background. Please pass the word. There's a request for proposals on the city website. The city does have a contract for this that's going to be available in the coming months.
Okay, fair enough. Well, seeing if there aren't any other questions, Andy, thank you for letting the people know about that. And on behalf of the city of Peekskill, we apologize for those of you who saw that post before it was removed. But again, we apologize for the inconvenience. So thank you for that, Andy. And Dr. Mauricio, thank you for taking time out of your day to be here to give the community an update. A lot of questions were answered. So we really, really appreciate you taking your time out and all of the work that you, the school board, the school district are all doing for the city of Peekskill. And we'll definitely be in touch with you again. Other than that, everyone else out there in social media land and TV land who's watching this on your government channel, thank you for tuning in. Until next week, be safe, social distance, wear a mask, and God bless. We'll see you then.
Thank you very much, everybody. And thanks for joining.